top stories shaping the news this morning. Another body has been recovered as search and rescue efforts continue at the scene of Tuesday's explosion in the Bodija area of Ibadan, the Oyo state capital. Well, one victim was rescued alive after more than 30 hours under the rubble. The rescue efforts continue. Some residents are still missing, while others who survived are trying to salvage what is left of their belongings.
The search and rescue operation is still ongoing, and as soon as event of any update, we'll be releasing it to the emergency operations center, who will exactly be giving us the exact update on what is going on. What we are doing now is to start getting all relevant informations in terms of material loss, in terms of the extent of damage, in terms of if there's still any need for, in terms of more bodies recover. So what we are currently doing is to gather those information and send it forward to emergency operations office, where a daily update will be given. That is what currently we are doing now.
Involved in the rescue effort says, though it is challenging, everything necessary will be done to recover those who may still be trapped.
The devastation here is enormous, and you can see that whole buildings are just a pack of rubble, and it's very challenging here, searching for either those that may still be alive or recovering body of deceased persons. So, but you can see there's relentless effort to ensure that everybody is accounted for. And we're also here supervising the process to ensure that no one is mistakenly left behind, whether they are alive or they are dead. So I see a spirit of let's keep working until we're able to provide answers for everyone that is missing their loved one, or those that their loved ones unfortunately have died.
Keep our eyes on that one. Another Friday, another series of election petitions to be decided by the nation's apex court. Well, the Electoral Act stipulates that hearing and final judgments in election petition cases are by law to be considered and concluded within 60 days, after which the matters will become statute barred. Now, the states to look out for today include Kaduna, northwest Nigeria. We have Rivers, south, and all of the political intrigues, Taraba, Ogun in the southwest, Nasarawa, Kebbi, amongst others. So stay with Channels Television for the breaking stories. But then that's not all from the Supreme Court or the court in general. Also, the former CBN governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, is to be arraigned at the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory today on an amended 20-count charge. That's up from the previous 6. Well, the FCC prosecutor, Rotimi Oyedepo, who confirmed to Channels TV that the fresh arraignment will take place before Justice Muazu, also disclosed that the amended charge was increased from 6 to 20 because it contains new counts relating to alleged fraudulent award of contracts to Mr. Emefiele's wife, his brother-in-law, and other associates. Security, particularly when it comes to Nigeria's oil wealth. The Nigerian army has confiscated over 3 million liters of stolen crude from an illegal refinery in Rivers State. Well, the facility, covering about 30 plots of land, was discovered during a raid led by the General Officer Commanding 6th Division of the Nigerian Army, Major General Jamal Abdul-Salam, at Akwa Odeogwa in Eche local government area. Here shows of the destruction of the illegal facility and handing over of the crude oil to the relevant agencies.
Definitely, this facility will not exist again. We'll contact the relevant agencies concerned, because the quantum of crude oil in this place is much, which requires expert handling. We'll contact the relevant agencies so that they can come and look at it and see what they can do and know exactly what is happening. You can see this place is thickly forested. Even from the air, using helicopter and drones, you will not be able to see what we actually saw on the ground. We have discovered, based on credible intelligence, which led us to this location, we have discovered so many illegalities that are taking place here. You have seen with your own eyes. We have seen reservoirs that can contain upwards of 200,000 liters. We have discovered about 14 of them in this bush. We have discovered boilers like this, which is capable of processing crude oil.
Now, COVID-19 may have come and gone, but the paper trail of the monies budgeted for the pandemic is still being traced. Well, the House of Representatives Committee on Public Accounts is asking the Federal Ministry of Trade and Investment to refund a 75 billion naira COVID-19 intervention fund to the federal government. At an investigative hearing in the nation's capital, the committee observed that it had sent 3 written invitations to the Ministry of Trade and Investment to appear and account for the funds to no avail. Similarly, the committee is asking the Federal Ministry of Health to refund 10 billion naira, which was budgeted for COVID-19 vaccine production, as it is yet to be utilized by the ministry. But there's more. It appears the CBN is not the only government agency making a move to relocate to Lagos. But while the CBN, in its case, is moving some critical departments, the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Mr. Festus Keyamo, has directed the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria to move its headquarters from Abuja to Lagos, where it has operated for decades. Well, a statement by the FAN spokesperson says the decision follows wide consultations by the new management of FAN with stakeholders, which also involved the unions. Now, some of the reasons are that it was ill-advised in the first place to move the headquarters to Abuja when there was no single FAN building in the nation's capital to accommodate all of them at once, and more than 60% of its activities are in Lagos. It's given the huge passenger volume of the Lagos airports. Well, let's talk some business now. Out of the country, Vice President Kashim Shettima says he was mandated by President Bola Tinubu to go sell the Nigerian dream at the ongoing World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Well, Senator Shettima said this in an exclusive interview with Channels Television on the sidelines of the annual World Economic Forum, where world leaders are gathered to discuss the way forward for the global economy. Well, he adds that Nigeria's presence at the conference is very essential as the trajectory of global growth is hinged on the continent. We'll take a listen.
You know, Nigeria represents Africa. It's the most populous nation in Africa. It has its largest economy. And the trajectory of global growth is facing Africa, and Nigeria will make or mar that transition. So we have to be in Davos to sell the Nigerian brand. Because wherever Nigeria goes, that's where Africa goes. I appreciate, I applaud, I celebrate the success stories of Botswana, of Mauritius, and even of Rwanda. But when you look at the size, what is the population of Botswana? 2.6 million people. What's the population of Mauritius? 1,300,557 people. Even Rwanda has a population of 14.9 million people. All pews, they are not bigger than metropolitan Kano. So the performance of Nigeria is absolutely essential. We are caught at an intersection of shifting geopolitical dynamics, of the complexities of recurring supply chains, and of course, the complexities, the demands of changing international trade and energy transition. So with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the helm of affairs and firing on all cylinders, we have never had it so good in terms of governance. And he mandated me, go and sell the Nigerian dream. And I'm here to showcase Nigeria to the world.
Well, Nigeria's Vice President Kashim Shettima in that exclusive interview with Channels Television. Well, let's move to some cheery news as the Nigerian Communications Commission, the NCC, has suspended the planned disconnection of Globacom subscribers by MTN over an outstanding interconnection debt dispute. Well, in a statement signed by the NCC's Director of Public Affairs, Mr. Ruben Moka, the Commission says both parties have reached an agreement to resolve all outstanding issues between them, adding that it had to intervene because the disconnection would have serious repercussions. Meanwhile, the Commission has advised that interconnect debts must be settled by all operating companies as a necessary component towards compliance with regulatory obligations of all licenses. So it appears you can call away now with no restrictions. Well, sports news, top, of course, on the list will be 3-time African champions, the Super Eagles of Nigeria, who have gotten their 2023 Africa Cup of Nations campaign back on track as Williams Troost Ekong's second half penalty gave Nigeria that very much needed 1-0 win over Cote d'Ivoire in front of over 49,000 fans, turning up the heat on the host country, whose hopes of reaching the last 16 remain a tricky balance. Where Captain Trustaken converted from the spot 10 minutes into the second half at the Bimpe Olympic Stadium in Abidjan after a foul on Victor Osimhen was picked up following a VAR check. Now, Nigeria must simply avoid defeat against Guinea-Bissau to ensure a top 2 finish. How about that? On the foreign scene now, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he has told the United States that he opposes the establishment of a Palestinian state once the conflict in Gaza comes to an end. In a news conference, a defiant Mr. Netanyahu vowed to press on with the offensive in Gaza until the destruction of Hamas and the return of remaining Israeli hostages, adding that it could take many months. With almost 25,000 Palestinians killed in Gaza, that's according to the Hamas-run health ministry, Israel is under intense pressure to rein in its offensive and engage in meaningful talks over a sustainable end to the war. And that's the top stories we have for you. They will be shaping the conversations this morning. But the question is, what are you saying across social media? Well, Jeffrey's here to walk through those of your comments this morning, Jeffrey.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about.
I wonder what stands out for you first from the top stories.
What stands out for me, one of it is, of course, we're going to talk about the Super Eagles, but one thing that stood out for me is the vice president selling Nigeria. And that's quite important for all of us because there's a lot we're going through as a country, and we need to continue to believe in our country to make sure that we sell it properly. But the big question now is saying the Nigerian dream. So to the average Nigerian, what is the Nigerian dream?
That is a big question.
It needs to come back to explain, or the government, the federal government has to explain to us, what is this Nigerian dream that our vice president is going out to sell, so that all of us can be follow the same trajectory.
So we can all be on the same page, right?
Yes, to be on the same page, follow the same trajectory to ensure that in case we find ourselves anywhere, we can say this is actually the Nigerian dream, because I'm not sure what it is. It could be many things for different people at the end of the day. So, hey, that stood out for me. And the Netanyahu story, sometimes when this conflict starts, you really don't know how it ends. So people are asking, after these bombings and fighting Hamas and all of that, what next?
What next?
Well, Netanyahu is a hardliner, as a conservative, so you can understand where it's coming from, but not everybody agrees with him because the two-state solution is being proposed at the end of the day, but some of them seem not to be listening. But let's see how it plays out eventually. But what we want to happen as the world, citizens of the world, is just to see that citizens and civilians don't continue to die. Sure. Whatever needs to happen for that to stop, let it be done.
I mean, quite important point you raised there, Jeffrey, but let's take a look at what you are saying on social media. Of course, the biggest conversation right now is the Super Eagles. We love our Super Eagles when we want to love them, and when we want to do otherwise, we go all out. Soar Super Eagles is trending right now. So what are you saying? Let's begin with Oga Mickey, and this is quite interesting. I know Jeff referenced that earlier on. So take a look at what he says. Nigeria beat Ivory Coast in 1994, went on to win that AFCON. Nigeria beat Ivory Coast in 2013, went on to win the AFCON. Nigeria has just beaten Ivory Coast in AFCON 2023. That's by saying perhaps, but it reminds me of two things. First, England. When England begins the World Cup, after the first match, if they win the first match or the second match, you hear that song, football is coming home, football is coming home. But then the last group game and maybe the round of 16, they lose out and then the song goes down. And Arsenal as well, and this is no shit to any Arsenal fan out there. You know what?
You didn't have to go there.
Let me just keep that and move on to the next post on X.
Let's head to the next tweet. This is from Moncarls. He said, well, this is in Pidgin. Nasonwa Balitek retire Uzoho. The love portion we didn't give Joseph Posero don't finally expire today. Well, I don't know. Those are just speculation. But for those of you who don't understand Pidgin, just saying that, look, Nwabali seemed to have lived up to expectation because of his composure yesterday at that particular match. So Uzoho may have to work harder to regain his spot in the Super Eagles team.
Absolutely. When we asked you who was your standout player, well, we have some answers to that one. And this is from Don Froshi saying, thank you, Aino. I have a grouse with some of the commentators who kept saying Aina, Aine. I'm like, Whoa, this is I know, it's as simple as that, but it's okay. We understand the language issues. So it says, thank you, Aino, giant of Africa for a reason. So a lot of people are
Absolutely
acknowledging Aino, but that was not the only person that stood out first. The whole team did a yeoman's job. We can talk about Bassi, we can talk about Moses Simon, Osimhen, Trust Ekong, the goalkeeper. The list goes on and on. So yeah, kudos to the team.
And this is quite short. This is from Ajayi Oluwatobi. Says, Nigeria, hashtag Super Eagles. That's a very disciplined display. Simple and short. Kiss, keep it short and simple. That's how it is.
Well, Plateau United FC is not left out of this conversation. Yeah, they may be focused on the league, but they have this to say. We heartily congratulate the Super Eagles on their 1-0 victory against host Cote d'Ivoire. The Eagles exemplified the hard work and the resilience the Nigerians are known for. We wish more victories and glories for them because their win is our win. Don't forget Wabali, a local goalkeeper in that sense. But yeah, he's going international now. So we have quality in our local league, absolutely.
So you may be expecting knocks on his doors very soon,
I
probably, if he keeps up this performance.
I love that.
And this is coming from the prosecutor. Said, Ola Aino and Calvin Bassi ate and left no crumbs. They delivered their polling unit and secured victory. This must be a politician
Wow,
somewhere.
Nigerians.
Oh,
I love
I like the sound of that. Delivered their polling units and secured victory.
Lovely.
I like the angle.
Absolutely. So
I love
every
that
player
angle.
has a polling unit.
Yeah.
11 polling units in
Yes,
all.
11
Secure
polling
your
units.
ensure the win.
Yeah. Just make sure that your polling unit, like your zone, zone hold it, zone mark it, then man mark.
You know
like
one
that, I
other
like
thing that I see my producer is avoiding is a banter around Ghana's match, which was the last game of the day yesterday, Ghana, Egypt. And people were saying, we're not gonna take it, kudos to the Ghanaian team. Play on words, of course, on the goal scorer, kudos.
Yeah.
But I know that there's that usual banter on social media between Nigeria and Ghana. But hey,
Absolutely.
wish our Ghanaian friends, family members, the very best. Yeah, the team may be at the bottom, but it's not over until it's over. So from here, it's all love. Okay, don't mind the ex-banter and the rest. We love Ghana. Sometimes we love Ghanaian jollof, but of course we love Nigerian jollof.
You are brothers, so we can't hate on you, man. You know, sometimes the question: are they our younger brothers? We're the older brothers. I would like to say that. At least we have the population. Okay.
So those are some of the things you're saying.
Absolutely.
On X, we're back with an analysis of the match. We have someone joining us, someone who was right there watching the games on the sidelines. And
But
someone here in the
don't
studio
forget
as well.
to keep it coming. CTV Morning Brief, that's where you get your voices heard right here on the show. And we'll do our very best to make sure that everybody's voice, as much as possible, is heard. So keep it coming, keep it. On X, we'll keep, what do you call it now? Keep reading out for everyone
WhatsApp
to
as
hear
well.
your say. Yeah, on WhatsApp, I forgot that part. Yeah. Our WhatsApp is also open to you. So, hey, we're going to display the WhatsApp number so we can take your thoughts and your views as well.
We're back in just a moment with analysis. Stay with us.